Welcome, welcome to the Hobby June Pilot channel. Today I'm here in Turtle Tail. Let me just move the drone around so you can see my location. And I have with me the DJI Mini 3, not the Mini 3 Pro. And I'm going to fly along the coastline here in Turtle Tail. This is an upscale area here in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands, where the rich and famous hideout. So I'm just going to fly along the coastline, look at the landscape, look at the coastline. I'll be back shortly. I hope you enjoy this video. So it's a little windy here, but it's nothing that this mini tree under 250 grams DJI drone can't handle. The drone that I refer to as DJI's most underrated mini drone. This drone is very capable, quite impressive with its 4K video and different features and flight modes, including vertical shooting. But today it's not so much about the drone as it is about the location, as I'm going to push out along the coastline, and I'm very interested in those 2 or 3 rock formation protruding out of the water. Maybe on a later date I'll have to take one of my drones out there and explore. But for now, let's get back on track and let's move down the coastline so you could see a lot of villas right on the waterfront, right on the water's edge. So you could just imagine those who are looking for peace of mind, somewhere to relax and explore. They cannot be blamed for probably believing that they have found the perfect getaway location. And as previously indicated, this is an upscale area and a highly sorted area by both tourists, visitors, and developers. It is ideally located on the southern coast of Providenciales, separated by the Flamingo Pond or the Flamingo Lake from Juba Sound on the Long Bay Hills area, and it has some of the most elegant villas and guest houses offering a variety of services here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. But this is only one of those such upscale area here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. There are several other areas that I hope to explore in due course. So it's a good day for flying. sun is out in all its glories, I have to take cover inside of my vehicle as the sun is just bearing down with all its might, and you could see that I was just zooming out there as I contemplate really how far I actually really want to get out. No issues so far. I'm coming up to 16, just over 1,600 feet, 23 satellites, 75% battery life, and it is saying that I still have at least 20 minutes flight time. So this is an era a few years ago was not well known, an era where the famous songster and songwriter, now deceased Prince, had a villa, a private beach, well secluded. It has now been sold, and I'm now pushing up over that location. So I'm approaching the villa once owned by singer Prince, widely regarded as one of the greatest singer, songwriter, and musician of his generation. And here now right over the marina, the Turtle Tail Marina, more than 4,000 feet out, 116 feet up. Still have recent, not recent, but fairly good signal, reasonably good signal, and 23 satellites, and I'm right over the villa. You can see the Poplar driveway, signature of the former legendary singer who gave us Poplar Rain, Poplar Rain. You know the song. I'm not a singer. Now it is one of the high-end villas on the island, with villas going between $12,000 and $18,000 per night. There are 2 sets of villas on the compound, 17 villas in total, and you can see the private beach right on the right. As I'm coming up past the property, I don't think that I want to go any further, and one of the reasons why is that while I was putting the drone up in the air and getting my bearings, a drone passed very close overhead. So someone else is flying in this area, and it was low enough. I believe it was, or I believe it is, either DJI Air 2, Air 2S. I don't think it's an Air 3. It's not that quiet, but for sure it's not a mini drone. And there's no coordination between me and that flyer. And I don't want us to cross hairs and cause any sort of collision. He, or the flyer, the user, the operator of that drone, flew off to the left, and I kept to the coastline. So here now I'm looking down on the property, the villa, right over the marina. Shortly I'm going to turn around, maybe turn to the left. I'm going to be careful in making a very tight turn as the other drone operator flew off in that general direction, and I don't want to cause any collision. And this mini tree has no obstacle avoidance, and even if it has, it is doubtful whether obstacle avoidance would prevent a collision of drones midair. So you just have to be responsible while you're flying and take all precautions as a responsible drone pilot. And I've often said that flying drones is like therapy for me. I normally would state that in the description. It's what I do after a hard day's work or a long week at work. I just go out, find a secluded location, and put a couple of drones in the air, let off some stress, and I'm ready for the following week or the next day. You know, I feel renewed. So this is a very, in my view, useful hobby. I've now turned around and I'm heading back to the home point. I have good battery life, just over 50%. Still have 11 minutes to fly, 24 satellites, and you could see my distance is reducing rapidly, just over 3,500 feet. And then you could see those rocks or landmass protruding out of the water. It's now in sight. I'm tempted to really get down low and look around, probably use the zoom function, but I leave that for another day. And then you could see just off from those rocks or landmass are some jet skis, and I'm just zooming in here using the 2x zoom and the camera for this drone to have a closer look. Very far from them, and they seem to be having the time of their life. And the blue waters of the Turks and Caicos Islands heading in the direction, I believe, of leeward. Probably they took off from the leeward dock, and they're heading back in that direction. No cares in the world, enjoying themselves as they should while on vacation. And I wish more locals residing in these islands permanently avail themselves of all that this country has to offer and all that nature has to offer. Enjoy our beaches as much as visitors do. Participate in these sort of water sports and tours and so on, and live the full Turks and Caicos Island dream. Turks and Caicos Islands dream. Why would you allow someone else to come in your country to live the dream when you're here and you can live it for yourself? So I am coming back to the home point. All this has been done manually, and I believe that when I land, my intention is to put a fresh battery and to fly in the opposite direction. I wouldn't want to fly in a battery that is below 40%. I wouldn't want to take that chance, and I don't want my batteries to get down that below anyway. The drone that was flying, I think the operator has now returned that drone to its home point, because a few moments ago it flew past me again in the opposite direction, heading back to the point that I believe it took off from. So I feel more confident now to have a look around in the opposite direction. So you could see all these villas, ideal place for the rich and the famous to hide out and relax here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So very shortly, I'm going to land, and then I'm going to change out the battery, and I'm going to take off again, but this time in the opposite direction as I continue my exploring or my exploration of the coastline here in Turtle Tail, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands. Now I'm just giving you a glimpse of in the direction that I hope to fly shortly. You can see I'm looking here now, and what we're seeing here is the Flamingo Lake. So let me get this drone on the ground quickly, hit return to home, just over 30% battery life, and let me get a new battery in and get this drone back up in the air. I'm not very far. I was less than 200 feet away, and I have covered the distance in a jiffy right over the home point, and the drone is coming down to land. And when it does, I just change out the battery, put it right back in the air, and complete my mission here in Turtle Tail, an area or one of the areas where the rich and famous hang out here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So I have changed the battery out. The drone is up in the air, and I'm sitting here observing just to make sure that that person who was operating that other drone either has landed or is not flying around in the general area that I'm flying, because as I said earlier, there's no coordination between me and that operator. And so I want to make sure that I'm flying safe and there is no chance of any sort of collision between both drones. And of course, if there is, my drone being a mini drone under 250 grams, and that drone, from what I saw, I believe to be a much heavier drone, I think that my mini drone would get crushed in any collision. And I don't want to have another useless drone in my hand, especially an expensive one like a DJI drone. I already have issues with my DJI Mini SE. I took it off for repairs. Should be picking it up shortly. I don't know if it would be properly repaired and ready for flying. I think that the persons were having some issues in repairing that drone. Maybe I should have sent it back to DJI. I didn't. My bad. And so it has already cost me as much as I bought the drone for. But that drone, that DJI Mini SE, has a lot of sentimental value to me. That was my first DJI drone, and I had that drone about 6 months before I actually put it in the air. And I believe that that is one of DJI's most stable and steady drone. It is absolutely static in the air when your hands are off the sticks. So I'm pushing out here, and I'm looking here at two villas, and I believe that these villas are in the finishing stages of construction, and just now they'll be on the market. They're right on the water's edge too. So there'll be more capacity for tourists and visitors here in the Turks and Caicos Islands in terms of rooms and accommodation, etc. But I'm pushing out in the opposite direction, and I'm just like 121 feet up, just over 2,000 feet out, of about 87% battery life, 21 satellites, and I'm just looking down, tilting the camera down, right along the water's edge, right along the coastline, here in Turtle Tail. And I'm really enjoying this flight with this DJI Mini 3. It is one of my favorite drones to fly. It is so quiet. This drone will have to be right up on you for you to realize that it is in the air. It is such quiet, so it would cause no disturbance to anyone. And being at like 120 feet up, absolutely no chance that anyone below is going to notice that this drone is flying as I push out along the coastline here over these villas, and not directly over the villas, but in the general direction. As I could see, I'm to the right of the villas, looking at the swimming pools and how these villas are strategically located right on the water's edge, so that the visitors, tourists, the guests, etc., would have ready access to the beach and the water. So I am pushing out now in the general direction of the Waimara villas. I did a flight some time ago, very recently, over the Waimara villas. I was flying another drone then, the Potensic Atom SE. No, I'm wrong. The Potensic Atom, not the Atom SE, because that drone that I was flying, the Atom, has 3-axis gimbal. So even though it was windy at that time, I had some really good stable footage. I flew the SE once, and the footage were unusable. So you could see that there is construction going on here. So development is in full stride here in Turtle Tail. You could see on my left, there is construction going on, probably another villa in the making, or a guest house. Who knows? Could be a private luxury residence. Anything is possible here in the Turks and Caicos Islands, as construction seems to be booming, and every week a new villa is springing up somewhere in these highly sought after areas here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So this construction here is again right on the water's edge. But I will move on, and you could see there is a lot of land here still ripe for development. So it's not like this area is running out of space or land anytime soon. There's a lot of land here to build. And now I'm looking out right now over the lake. And on the opposite side of the lake, you could see a lot of villas and guest houses right on the water's edge. So what I'm seeing here in the Turtle Tail area is very pleasing to my eyes. And once these villas are occupied, once they are rented, then there'll be revenue flowing into the government's coffers so that they can be able to do what is necessary to develop the country infrastructurally, etc. You know, roads, good drainage, health services, security, and so forth. So I've turned around and I'm now coming back to the home point. I'm doing all this manually. I'm just over 5,000 feet, just 132 feet high. I still have probably over 60% battery life. I still have 19 minutes flight time left. I have like 25 satellites. No issues with connection so far. Although I could see that my controller signal is a little down, but it's not in the red. And now I have good signal. Everything is showing white. So I had no breakup, no FPV breakup, no loss of signal, nothing. And I was well over 5,000 feet out, and I wasn't very high, 120, 130 feet. So I am coming back with no issues at all to the home point, flying right along the water's edge. And this is a beautiful area to fly. In fact, it's the first time I'm actually flying from this area, but I've flown from different areas in Turtle Tail. And this has been very, in my view, successful but uneventful flight. As I am making very good progress, 22 miles per hour back to the home point. If you like this video, please like, please share, and please give it a thumbs up. But most of all, I thank you for taking time out to look at this video of the DJI Mini 3 in the Turtle Tail area, where the rich and famous hang out in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So I'm back very close here to the home point, 220 feet out, and I'm just looking down because I always like to pay attention to the pristine, blue waters of the Turks and Caicos Islands. And I've turned around and I'm now facing my direction. So I'm right here, and this is the reveal. And that's my vehicle there. So I'm right overhead, coming down very quickly, as you can see, 27 feet up. So cheers. See you in another one. Bye for now.